People call you the Thrillionaire, and that's also been what's determined the title of the book, The Thrillionaire. What does it mean?
Basically, it's about living life in your own terms in regards to being armed with financial literacy, but also spoiling yourself and living a true life.
Okay, spoiling yourself. You do a lot of things. You go into space, you summit mountains.
Have lunch on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but none of that would have been possible unless I had different streams of income, I guess, in regards to like massive cash flow generation throughout my life. And I wasn't born rich, but I was born rich of potential. And that's the kind of information I want to share with South Africans now in regards to taking accountability of your life and arming yourself with more financial literacy.
Now, you became a multi-millionaire in your 20s,
yes.
and I think that's a goal most people will never reach in a lifetime. Talk to us about it, because I think it informs the insights you provide in the book, The Most Powerful Cash Flow Strategy on the Planet.
Yeah, definitely. Well, initially, I had to solidify my foundation in regards to my belief systems and my goals and my aspirations and ambitions kind of thing. But from then on, I built upon those foundations to build different streams of income, because I never wanted to be reliant on just having a job. Because when you think of the biggest problem today is most individuals have one single source of income. And then they struggle to service their lifestyle with after-tax dollars. And hence, 95% of individuals who are dead broke. So basically, I was looking at different cash flow attributes and what have you. And I utilised property for capital growth, but for cash flow, which is basically everyone's desire these days, more so now than ever. There's a particular stock market strategy which is so simple, so conservative, so low risk, yet its payout in regards to cash flow generation is massive.
Okay, tell us the secret a little bit, because I know that a lot of what you did was focus on property, and most people seem to understand that concept, but they don't become millionaires at age 20, whatever.
Well, with property, my main strategy was something called a value factoring, which was basically buying dilapidated property and adding value to it. And I've never sold property, but I've always bought property in good key locations. And I guess the number one premise in property is the profit's always in the purchase, as opposed to waiting for the market to give you that capital growth. And the same thing with the stock market. You see, when I invest, I don't trade. I'm not a speculator, because personally believing, and I may be a little controversial here, but I don't believe there's any money in trading the stock market, because it's speculative, because there's no real guarantee of return. There's no certainty. You see, in my life, I want total control, I want total certainty. See, what I do, and as a shareholder in regards to the particular strategy we're referring to, we create the market, but we don't trade it. And when you create, the profit is always upfront.
I'm sure a lot of fund managers and investment bankers would be taken aback at that statement, because they would say there is almost a science to trading the stock market. You track it, you look at its performance over a set period of time, you break it down by sector. Here it's a mining economy, so you look at resources with regards to property, with regards to bonds and cash, and then you come up with a strategy. So when you say that you don't do that, but you create a market, what are you saying? Because
basically, look, when the speculative side, there's three primal instincts of the human mindset. There's greed, fear, and indecision. And most individuals who are going to trade a specific direction are dependent on that particular direction in order for them to make money. See, I want to be in control of the investment. When you have control, there is certainty. When there is certainty in your life, you can budget your life. See, irrespective of market performance, with this particular strategy called ShareLord, I can generate an income. And there are very few strategies in the world that can make that claim. And I have thousands of clients in over 30 countries, even on the African continent itself. And this strategy is very low risk, and in fact, historically speaking...
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. What we do is this. We acquire a parcel of shares. And what we do is this. We actually rent out those shares. Now think of this, just like a landlord. What does a landlord do? They buy a property and they rent it out to a tenant. The tenant pays the landlord a rent in order to live in that property. As a share owner, let's say you buy a parcel of shares. Most individuals, what do? They just buy the shares and they wait for the share price to do what? They go up. Okay, so they're just a share owner. But how about transforming yourself from a share owner to a share lord? Just like being a property owner to a landlord, how about becoming a share lord, which basically means we buy a parcel of shares with a very strict criteria, and we simply rent out those shares to market participants who are our tenants or our speculators in the marketplace. And what we do is this. We also utilise a portion of the rental income we just received as a share lord. And by the way, our members, our investors right now, those who become a share lord themselves, are generating between 3 and 9% on a monthly basis.
So ultimately, you do go back to the market.
We do go to the marketplace, but instead of just buying a share and hoping the share price will just rise, we basically generate a monthly income on that share portfolio.
All right, now these days, I mean, you talk about cash flow and you're referring to it as disposable income and just making sure you've got a steady source of income. For companies, how can they utilize your strategy? Because what we are seeing is margins have thinned out a little bit. Cost saving has become the catchphrase. Retrenchments have become a strategy.
Hip pocket nerve.
And that's a way of conserving cash. How can they apply what you're saying into the running of a business?
Yep. First of all, I totally agree in regards to having financial literacy, to dismantle your credit card debt, minimize your personal loan and mortgages and what have you. But in order to do that too, and to expedite the process, you need additional income streams because let's face it, and with all due respect, a sole job, one single source of income as a job will not solve that problem. Effectively, you need to become far more savvy, far more astute, because there are better ways to generate money in the marketplace. And traditionally, we've been exposed to fund managers or financial advisors or stockbrokers. And let's face it, the most qualified individual in the world has always been ourselves. And I'm all about empowering somebody to take accountability of their life, to basically, have that financial literacy and go out there in the marketplace.
But I think a lot of people, obviously, even if they've got a little bit of literacy, they still have responsibility, and responsibility makes you cautious. And consequently, people will take a conservative approach. The issue is how to translate what you're saying into tangible action. People will save using conventional vehicles like unit trusts, like the bank. They will, put away retirements through provident funds. They'll use traditional mechanisms of entering a very complex market space and think that they're doing the right thing. How do people become independent of that system if that's what you're advocating?
Well, I personally believe the traditional scope is basically being where the individual or the investor has been reliant on somebody else to invest on their behalf. And what I'm personally advocating is for somebody to take on that accountability for themselves, because there are far more astute and savvy strategies if only you understood it. Because this strategy, it's not nothing new. But traditionally, there was so much testosterone, there was so much hieroglyphics about this particular strategy and nobody really understood it. And all I did was I just chunked the information down and removed all the, the Egyptology of the actual strategy, I guess. So it's really easy to embrace and grasp. But I believe anybody can do this. I mean, our youngest client was age 9, and one of our oldest clients has been, age 95.
And how much money did they make?
Well, they're generating between 3 and 9% on a monthly basis based on their initial investment.
You heard about all these Ponzi schemes, right?
Absolutely.
Where people make real significant returns in a short
Speculators,
space of time.
gamblers, yeah.
How can we ensure that what you're saying to us is not any one of
Well,
those?
this strategy has been in place for the last 40 years. And some big fund managers are already using this. In fact, we have some fund managers in the UK who are actually utilising the same strategy. And believe it or not, we get rewarded from the stock market to create a marketplace for the speculative derivative traders. We create a market for them. And in order for them to do what they do, called speculation, they pay us between 3 and 9% of the value of our share portfolio.
We're seeing the rise of the emerging markets,
Yes.
and hence the emerging market consumer, the emerging market institution, and retail investor with a little bit more money to spend. Should they be putting their money in their local economies? In which areas? How so?
I would say, first of all, before they start investing in all these other key areas, is to invest in themselves. 20% of their disposable income, you pay yourself first because you're the most important person. Then go out there, empower yourself financially, and educate yourself. Because there are far more astute strategies out there that have always been there, but right now it's becoming more accessible to the right individual at the right time.
Okay, let's talk about other aspects of your life. Obviously, you say financial freedom allows you to do interesting things like go diving, you're a cosmonaut, you've had a few African adventures. What's been the most meaningful thing for you?
For me, basically, what's really emotionally profitable for me is inspiring other individuals and being a solution provider to their problems in regards to their finances. Because look, I never came from a very rich background, but I had I was rich in potential. And what I do in my talks, I provide that content, that information, or that inspirational information for them.
Somebody just said to me, I must ask you that you were a rock star at age 17 playing with Bon Jovi and Deep Purple. Which band did you play in?
I was in a couple of bands called Solace, Calcium and Big Dill. And I've been a musician since I was about 9 years of age. And I left the music industry when I was about 28. But at the same time, imagine this sort of lifestyle. At night time, I'll be performing in front of thousands of individuals. But by day, I was a property investor and a stock market investor.